Are you already nodding out?
What? I just yawned.
I saw that shake.
Yawned.
We better
just yawned. You know, that's all.
Take deeper breaths, bud. Get that oxygen in there.
Then if you can
No, that'll
do
make me
push-ups.
more fall asleep.
Keep wiggling your toes.
Want to do push-ups?
I'll do push-ups.
I'll do
You
push-ups.
want to do some push-ups?
You'll do more than me with all that caffeine in you.
I mean, I'll do more just because I do push-ups. But
I could do more than you.
highly doubt it.
Oh no!
How many can you do?
I don't know how many
Challenge
can you do.
extended
50?
I could do 50
Can you really?
at once,
At once?
or like over the course of a day.
Really? You can
At
do
once.
50?
Sure.
Wow, I'm impressed.
like
Can you do more?
I don't know.
Now, do we even the odds though? And like you have to wear a backpack that
What
makes
are you
you the
saying?
same weight.
No, because
We're saying that he is clearly a skinnier human.
It's true.
That's true. I'm not negating that.
But do we make them weigh the same?
no, because your body gets used to your body mass. So your muscles.
I haven't
adapt
worked
to your
out in
body
2
mass.
months, so
I haven't worked out in like 3 years.
I've been rowing. I do a lot of rowing.
I'm just
Well,
kidding.
there you have it. Maybe at the churro social that's coming down the pipeline, you'll see a little competition of the
push-up competition.
persuasion.
Start
There
training.
you go.
Train now.
Training.
Start training now.
After watching Top Gun, my new goal is 200.
Did you know he made them film that scene, the beach scene, twice?
Why?
Because the first time it wasn't like good enough.
Cruz made him do
Yeah.
it?
Really?
So he filmed it twice. And
What
the second
wasn't good
time,
enough? His chest?
I think all of their chests.
Really?
Yeah.
He made them all work out again? That's
I
hilarious.
want to look like Spartans playing football.
Yeah, dude. Dude, I love it. That movie's great.
Haven't seen it.
Talking about planes, though.
Ooh, nice segue.
Right? Maybe. It's kind of sad.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
There's no snakes on these planes.
No.
Or is there?
There are.
So,
There's snakes elsewhere.
what better way to bring it back to Five's a Crowd? Yes, that's who we are. That's where we're at. Here, me, Cameron, with Chris, Austin, Tony, and Zach. We are the five in the crowd.
Hola.
Hello.
Hey, but they're also joining the crowd.
They are. You are. You're the crowd. We're the five.
Yeah.
You're the crowd. But we thought we'd bring it back in today with with some conspiracy theories, some deep-rooted conspiracy theories. Now, before we go on, quick disclaimer: these are just theories. These are just fun things to talk about and think about.
Yes.
Some people believe them wholeheartedly, some do not. But this is in no way meant to hurt anyone, meant to hurt any companies, anything associated with this. We have the utmost respect for everything that happened on 9/11, and we respect everyone, you know, who sacrificed themselves to help others that day. Everyone who was hurt by the event. Most of us were. Most of us know exactly where we were the moment it happened. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So again, this is just a fun, silly conversation. We don't mean anything rude or disrespectful to anyone. So take that with a grain of salt.
In Cam's words, we're not saying. We're just saying.
Okay? Now, that's what we're going to talk about today. 9/11, September 11th, 2001. That was a day that lives in infamy for all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what's weird is that week, I remember in history class, they were saying that what happened this week will be in history books.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's now been 21 years.
Dude, I was in my U.S. history class when it happened.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I was in math class.
As in science class.
I was at the breakfast table.
I was late to school.
Time you
How are you at
guys
breakfast?
were both at breakfast then.
I don't.
Like our
table
time,
at
I'm trying to think
wasn't
what.
it? It
I
was
was
like
at home, definitely.
Yeah, what time
So
did
what,
I?
what
like
time did
7
you
in the
guys
morning?
get
We
there?
went to the
Like
same
7 in the
junior high,
morning?
so obviously
I
our
was in-
first period
I
started
was in
at the
first
same time.
period when it
Maybe
happened,
we
like
were
halfway
closer
through first
because
period.
okay, here's the thing. I remember I was home when the first one hit. Then on my way to school, as I was in the hallway, they had it on the TVs, and then that's when the second one hit.
Maybe
and that
I
I was on my way to English.
Maybe I just heard about it in school because
I just
didn't hear about
remember
it before.
watching it in first
Yeah,
period.
they kept showing it over and over.
Oh, so that
all
made
it was.
Oh, weird. What? Yeah. So the first attack, our time was like 6:14 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
What time was the
And when
second
was the
one?
second
I think
one?
the second attack was what we all really noticed.
Because I was at the breakfast table and I remember looking at the news and they were saying a plane just hit the tower. And at the time they thought it was an accident. And then while sitting there watching the news is when the second one happened.
Maybe that's what happened. Yeah.
That's how I
That's
remember
right.
it. And
That's
then
right.
the Pentagon got hit after we were already in school.
That's what
How
it was.
far after did the second one hit? Because
So-
I remember seeing that at school.
Yeah, so do I. Like, let's see here.
Now, were you guys seeing a replay? Because I don't remember it
I
being
don't honestly
that far
now. I don't
apart.
know.
Because what time did junior high start? 7:15?
7:45.
Ish. Yeah.
7:45?
Was it that late? Yeah, high school was. Yeah, that sounds about right.
was
It was
gonna
closer
say,
to 8.
All right.
If I remember
I
right,
was
it
in
was like
junior
first
high.
bell ring at 7:45. Class started at 7:50. At least that's how it was for me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So at 8:46, was that the first one? Yeah, so at 8:46
Which would have been 6:46
New York
Eastern
time.
time. So
Okay.
yeah, 6:46 our time. The first plane crashed. And then the second one hit at 9:03. So yeah, like
Wow, that
7.
far apart?
That was like 15 minutes, like 15.
Oh,
Yeah,
9:03
15
their time. I thought you were
Yeah, yeah,
converting
So
sorry.
that would
our
have been
time.
7:03
So
our time.
7:03 our time.
So
I
yeah,
heard about
that
it
sounds
at
about
school.
right.
I think maybe, you know what? I'm conflating. I think I did. I heard about it all at school. Didn't actually see the videos like multiple times until I was
Yeah,
at
'cause
home.
I came downstairs to eat breakfast and my mom already had the news on and she told me, she's like, son, come watch this. And yeah.
Yeah, I remember I walked out into my parents' living room and they had it on and the plane had just hit. And then moments later, the second one hit.
So
And then
yeah.
I walked to school.
So I must have seen a replay because our teacher turned on the TV and we just sat and watched it.
Yeah.
So it must have been
that's
a
all we
replay I
did
saw.
for the very
that
first.
whole-
Yeah, the whole day.
Yeah,
The whole day.
Yeah.
because
I
no one knew
remember-
what was going on.
Like not to be funny, but I remember they had a student sing the national anthem over the intercom as kind of a thing. And halfway through the song, he forgot the words. Well, not even halfway through the song. It was like full, like I know his nerves got the best of him, but it was like full on like, oh, say, can you see? And the rocket. It was like,
Was that Akeem Barney?
yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I remembered that.
Beautiful singing voice. You know, my heart goes out to the guy during that time, but nerves definitely got the best of it.
So funny.
Bro
The
missed
funny
an
things we
entire
remember.
verse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
I was
yeah.
in English when I
See,
think
I-
it was the Pentagon that hit because we were watching.
Yep, the Pentagon got hit, and then they talked about the flight went down in the forest.
Flight.
Or not the forest. It was out in a
It
field.
was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
That was the one headed for the White House.
And that was the one. Didn't they make a movie of that one?
Yes.
Yeah, flight. That's
Flight
93.
93.
93, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see it, but yeah, I heard
good
good
movie.
things.
That's
So, I
where.
mean- What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
That's where what? No, I want to know.
I didn't know. I thought they didn't know exactly where it was heading.
At first,
I
yeah,
think-
they didn't, but then they
I think
figured,
they projected that it was headed towards the White House.
Right.
which it would just it would make the most sense.
Right.
What
Took
else,
out the two
what else would you
towers.
target?
Pentagon.
You know,
But why the two towers?
Because they were
massive
They were-
international trading
they
places,
were the
weren't they?
world trade centers. Like they were literally a huge economic like structure. A lot of business went on in there. A lot of world economic trading and all this stuff that affected our economy.
There's another reason too, because the terrorist cells had said, because they tried bombing it before, right? They tried bombing. They brought
Yeah.
the truck into the
Yeah,
parking
that
and
was
then blew
like
it up.
5 years prior, if I
Something like
remember
it,
right. Yeah.
But they asked why that, and they said because the World Trade Centers had a lot of Jews in it. Is why they wanted to bomb that one, because they thought all the Jews worked in the World Trade Center.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely had a large body count. Sadly,
Yeah, the first bombing was
Yeah.
in 93.
Right.
at the World Trade Center.
it
Yeah,
was
they
in the
drove a
parking
truck
garage.
into the bottom of it, trying to knock down the tower.
They
but
wanted
it
to-
wasn't strong enough.
Yeah, their goal was to hit the one side and have it knock down into the other one and take them both out.
Dang.
Yeah, dude, they've been trying to take it out for a while. But that we're not going to go in super detail of all the events. I mean, we all know, we're all familiar with 9/11, what happened, the towers being hit, them going down shortly after, Building 7 going down, which is right around the same area. And so what we're going to do is talk about some of the conspiracy theories that people have had over the years about 9/11 and what happened.
Aliens? Just kidding.
Honestly, I don't think there are any about aliens. Not this time, bud. Not this time.
No.
They escaped. No, I mean, the biggest...
We didn't have anything to do with this one.
They're like, no, that's not us.
That's not us.
No, I'll tell you. I think the biggest thing of all, like the biggest conspiracy of all, is that it was an inside job. That they believe that our government did it on their own, essentially.
Now, in that one, do they believe they did it to give us an excuse to start a war? Or what was why would we want this to happen?
Yeah, that's part of it. Like, one of the theories is to get us to go into Iraq for oil, essentially. Like, to go and, drill for oil that we can have instead of having to
A lot of good that
take
did us.
it. Right? $5.60 a gallon. Didn't work.
Yeah.
Stay on target.
That's our job.
But here's one of the wildest conspiracies that kind of tries to support that narrative of that it was like done by the U.S. essentially.
Right.
Have you guys ever heard of predictive programming?
Negative.
Predictive programming?
No.
Is that like predictive text?
Almost. Kind of, in a way.
Okay.
Predictive programming is a subtle form of psychological conditioning provided by media to acquaint the public with planned societal changes to be implemented by our leaders. If and when these changes are put through, the public will already be familiarized with them and will accept them as natural progression, thus lessening possible public resistance and commotion.
It's the frog in the cold water theory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about it. Think about all the things you've ever seen on TV shows, movies, and at first you're like, oh, this is wild. This is crazy. This would never happen. But then you see it again and again and again. And eventually it happens in real life and you're not as stunned by it. You're essentially desensitized to it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a number of videos. I don't have them right here. I watched them earlier. But essentially, there's a whole bunch of videos, in cartoons specifically, that show the World Trade Centers blowing up, getting destroyed.
Damn.
Yeah. Like, we're talking like when we were kids, back in the 90s, back in the 80s even. I do have a couple pictures for you here, okay? In 1968, this is a newspaper ad from a group of realtors that was building the trade towers.
Get out.
Look at that picture. What does it look like is happening in this picture?
Can you see that?
The mountain comes to Manhattan.
Looks like a plane's running into it.
Oh my gosh. Even that little puff of smoke thing coming out there?
Right?
Yeah. That's wild.
Here's another one. This happened a year before the towers were attacked. It was an arthritis advertisement.
Really?
What? So
And arthritis?
yeah. So the towers have these like legs kind of, it shows the bone, like an x-ray of legs basically painted on them. And it says, everyone thinks that their joints are safe and strong. And then it says, until the day, it has a picture of a plane that says in red letters, osteoporosis collapses them.
This is real.
This is a legit ad.
Really?
Gosh.
Now, here's a question. Did Matt Groening do anything on it? Did The Simpsons ever show anything about this before it happened? 'Cause
You know, honestly, I didn't see.
I'm gonna need it.
What about the, we all know about is it the $20 bill? How if you fold the $20 bill, it
Yeah.
looks like the towers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you flip it on the other side and it's the Pentagon on fire or whatever.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
or it's
that's
like the
pretty-
$50 bill has the Pentagon and the 20 has the twins.
Yeah, something like
Pretty
that.
wild subliminal programming. Like I said, though, they're like I think G.I. Joe had it on there. The Iron Man cartoon, the Mandarin blows up the towers and then the Pentagon.
Jeez.
Johnny Bravo. Remember Johnny Bravo?
Yeah.
Johnny Bravo.
He was fighting a dude, and there was a poster behind him of like a tower just smoking and on fire and stuff. And it was like literally like a couple months.
Gosh.
No, yeah. It was a picture of a tower on fire that had been hit really high, and it said "coming soon." And that video went up like in April of 2001.
Really?
Yeah.
What
So
if?
it's just weird.
What
That
if?
gives me a funny
What if
feeling.
though? The terrorists saw that ad and like, not a bad idea.
I thought they were Middle Eastern.
Are they Russian?
I don't know. I didn't want to discriminate, so I just did
Process.
not bad idea.
You didn't have to do an
You know,
accent at
maybe.
all.
I had to. I have to.
Reactionary versus programming. I mean, who knows? But never mind.
I mean, I feel like we've also seen it time and time again, bringing it more current to COVID, right? Like there was a ton of that leading up to COVID.
Right.
A lot of movies.
And a lot of even still people, the way they spoke about it
Right.
months, even years prior to COVID happening, they were basically saying this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Like no one was really listening. But then, you know, you go back and listen retroactively and they're talking about how we're going to go into lockdown and all this crazy stuff.
Well, you've got the movie Contagion,
Oh yeah.
which if I don't know if you've ever seen
That's
that.
Matt
That
Damon
is,
and Gwyneth Paltrow, wasn't it?
yeah, and a bunch of other big time actors.
Yeah.
But literally, like the first 10 minutes is exactly COVID to a T.
Really?
But then it goes on, it goes beyond that. But yeah, literally, it's this outbreak that starts out, and the basis of it is basically a bat bites some fruit, drops it into a pigsty. This pig eats it. A guy goes in and slaughters the pig, and before he has a chance to wash his hand, he walks out and shakes hands with someone. Bam. That now spreads this disease, and basically what it does is it's over in the air, like it passes like COVID did, and then you get sick and you die. And eventually everything goes into a shutdown and all this weird stuff. And it's literally COVID to a T. But it goes even more into depth in the movie and more exaggerated.
That's wild.
My theory is I think sometimes they make movies to represent what's going to happen. So you're like, oh, that's not real. When things do happen, like, oh, that's not real. I was in a movie. It's not a conspiracy.
Exactly.
Wasn't it? It was
Predictive
one of our
programming.
previous episodes. You said that, was it the CIA themselves came up with the
Yes.
phrase conspiracy theory?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yep. There was a video on YouTube called "Out of the Shadows." Did you watch it? I can't remember who watched it. If I can find it, I'll have you guys watch it because I think they removed it. And it's this guy who he was a stunt double working in Hollywood for like
Oh, yeah.
his whole life.
I saw it.
And he basically was all about that lifestyle, all around these famous people all the time, directors, everything, like in the thick of it in Hollywood. Well, he one day essentially turns to Jesus and he becomes all religious. And because he had seen such dark stuff in this world. And so he made this documentary called Out of the Shadows, and he just talks about all the messed up stuff. That's where they talked about spirit cooking and all the weird stuff
Right.
that they do in Hollywood. That's essentially like satanic rituals and pedophilia and all that craziness.
Well, I thought he was always religious, and they kept trying to bring him into it, and he just kept telling him no, he's not interested, and would avoid.
I don't think
to the
he was.
parties.
I don't think he was religious. He just wasn't.
into that.
He's one of those people who's like.
sane.
He's not like, yeah, exactly. Like he's not like raised and born into religion, but he's just a person who's like, I don't like that. That's evil. I'm just not going to be part of that
Right.
kind of thing. But anyways, like I fully believe that media is used in this manner. I mean, again,
I wouldn't doubt it.
that honestly doesn't seem far fetched.
right?
They had the CIA was, when TV was coming out, they had
Subliminal messages.
they did that.
Yeah.
They actually were testing all that. to see.
Well, I mean, are we really going to put it past a government that really did MK Ultra?
Exactly.
they want what's
Like,
best for us.
Come on,
Okay.
man. For real?
Exactly.
Hey, just to go back, because I was curious, and I did remember seeing this, Simpsons did predict 9/11.
No.
When was it that it came out?
This was on one of the
my
episodes.
Gosh.
You can't see it, but Bart is holding up $9, and behind him is a sign that newspaper
says-
article, and it has
The
a
two
dollar
towers.
sign with $9, and then behind it is the Twin Towers. So it literally says 9/11,
Oh,
using
yeah.
the towers as the
in
11.
in one of those videos I saw earlier today, there is a video like in the early 90s where a plane hits the Twin Towers, and it said it was like September 11th, 1990 something.
No way.
So it was like the day that I think it was a game or something that it came out. The year was different, but the date was the same. Like that. I mean, come on. You have 365 shots and you spot on hit the right one. Like, come on.
366 sometimes.
Sometimes it was a leap year. But even back on COVID, I remember. Did you ever watch The Last Man on Earth?
No.
It was a comedy. It was pretty
I
funny.
think I saw a few episodes.
I watched, I think, the first season and like part of the second. Then I got
Who
bored.
was in that one again?
It's that comedian. What's his freaking name? I can't remember his name. But
Is it the one where the guy meets the random last girl?
yeah.
Okay.
He's all alone. He's got a big bushy
Yep,
beard and
yep.
like nobody's left on the planet.
Oh yeah.
He's been, I think he's been on SNL and stuff. What's his
Yeah.
name? Will Forte.
Yeah, Will Forte.
Okay.
Yeah. So he, but apparently there's an episode that explains what happened and why nobody's left on the earth. And it shows this flashback of this lady, and all of a sudden on the news pops up. It's like, oh, Chinese virus is spreading through the world, like all this stuff. And she's like, oh, nothing to worry about. They go out and like she was like a rich lady. So they go out in their like limo, and people are all wearing masks. And she's like, what's going on? And then she looks down, and like even the dogs have masks on. And like, it literally looks like it was an exact film representation of
So-
COVID-19.
So I got a question then. Do you think that it's a ripple effect as far as the subliminal messages, and the people who are writing and directing movies are getting their inspiration from other things, that eventually they go, hey, that'd be a good movie idea, when really they've been being fed ideas?
Maybe.
Because you can't, I don't know, there's so many different writers and
basically
different
like
things out there
Inception.
that you can't, like, there's not a secret government agency going up to these writers and saying, hey, you're going to write this movie. This is what it's going to be about. And we'll give you all the credit. Like,
I mean, I'm not saying.
I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying.
On the flip side, I do think it is weird that no one has come forward, if that's the case.
Yeah.
You know what
That's
I mean?
why
Like
I feel like the
whistleblowers?
subliminal thing. Like, I feel like writers, directors, people out there are maybe drawing inspiration from little tiny hints like this, and then say, hey, I should make a movie
that's,
of this.
That's the thing too. And why it's so easy to get lost in conspiracy theories is like, you could even say like spooks, you know, people, the CIA and whatnot, they can work on scenarios that make a person think something. It's literally Inception,
Right.
Yeah.
but in real life. You can plant things that drive your attention.
Oh, for sure.
Drive your ideas, spark things. Like, you can literally push people into doing what you want them to do.
Well, it's
like,
marketing.
leading 'em.
If you think
It's
about
marketing,
it,
exactly.
marketing does it all the time.
it's the illusion of choice that we all have. You saw, remember that picture of all the companies that are owned by like
Yeah.
4 companies?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's, you know, and that's why we get so lost in this, is like, because it could happen.
I
But
saw
I'm just
I saw
saying.
this one thing in it.
It glitched.
I think it was like a
The glitch in the Matrix.
it was like a reel, and it was like, if you're not a conspiracy theorist, you really think the government's out here batting 100? It's like, you're telling me none of this is real. None of it?
They've
Not
never
even a
messed up.
little bit? I don't know, man.
That's a good point.
It's so true. I mean,
They cover up stuff. I mean, that's
Oh, for sure.
Well, how many jokes, using movies as an example, how many jokes in movies do they make fun of the fact that our government is so untrustworthy?
Well, I mean,
that's conditioning us.
the pure
It's like, you're
fact,
surprised?
the pure fact that they said that there were no aliens,
Right.
and then now they're coming out and they're like, oh yeah, here's all the documentation of all the unidentified flying objects.
we
in the
don't
air.
know what these things are.
Could be.
But
It's
everything
not of
else
the
we're
truth.
saying is true.
Yeah.
But trust us, because we told you the truth eventually.
Exactly. They sprinkle a little truth.
It's like, oh hey, yeah,
Sweeten their
everything
lives.
that we said about COVID is true, but we can't release any of the documentation until 50 more years, when most likely you're going to be dead.
For real.
It's like, huh, yeah, I
By
bet
the
you guys
next
shared
contagion.
all the truth.
Like JFK.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's literally what they're doing with JFK. They have all this documentation that is sealed on the entire thing.
Yeah.
50 years though on COVID,
Yeah.
or for the results of the vaccine,
Like the tests and stuff.
garbage. 50 years? Are you kidding me? We will be 80. We will be in our mid 80s if we live that long.
Well, they want it to die with us.
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's swept under the rug. You give it
Yeah.
50 years, people forget.
What
New
was the time frame on
generations.
JFK?
JFK, it's not set to release until like 2039 or something like that.
20 yeah.
See?
Like all this should be
It's
so
like,
transparent.
what's exactly like?
Why?
If you're not hiding something, why are you hiding stuff? Like,
Well, they could make up documents and stuff that are not true, too. So why
Yeah.
don't they just do that? Because they lie to us about everything else anyway.
Why not just be transparent?
That's a good point.
why don't the people in the House of Representatives wear body cams?
You can't handle the truth. What's that off of?
Few good men.
Few Good Men.
Yeah, that's why. They don't think we can handle it. No, it's not. It's because they don't want us to know.
It's because
See, they want is they want the secret to die with them.
What they want is a bunch of good little workers.
They want to die before the secret comes out, so
Exactly, so they can't be held
accountable.
accountable.
Oh, so
That's
they
what the
so
issue
they
is.
can't be held
there it
accountable
is.
for all their investment in
their lies.
in
Insider trading.
vaccines
Tell you.
and
They just
Exactly.
want us little ants working, doing our lives.
So that was another conspiracy about 9/11.
The ants did it.
In the yes, it's like
Careful, you almost
Ratatouille.
just made me spit out my drink.
It's like Ratatouille, but the ants. They just pull it out of the layers. So right before 9/11, there were an abnormal amount of stock puts on American Airlines and
Really?
The other
Get
one.
out of here.
Yeah.
Stock puts.
yeah.
Jeez.
So
What are stock
for
puts?
those of you who don't know what a stock put is, essentially a stock put is where you're betting on those stocks of those companies failing,
fall?
like tanking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that
And-
what Martha Stewart got in trouble for?
No, she was in
No,
trouble for
she-
insider trading.
Oh,
Do you remember?
And she didn't pay her
Did you ever
taxes.
watch the movie The Big Short?
yeah.
So that's about a group of people who
Yeah.
they saw the stock market crash of 2008 coming.
Yeah.
So they put puts on companies and made a crap ton of money.
That's like Nancy Pelosi.
Exactly. Well, that's more Martha Stewart.
Oh,
Insider trading. They basically know
thing.
information that the public doesn't, and they're buying stock using that information before it goes public.
What were the
Yeah.
airlines? American Airlines, obviously. What?
It was, let's see. So, yeah, so suspected insider trading, it was American Airlines and United Airlines. So, an extraordinary amount of put options were placed on United and American Airlines stocks, speculating that insiders may have known in advance that the coming events of 9/11
Really?
it's crazy.
and placed their bets accordingly.
Because I mean, what are the stats? I don't know if you could pull this up, but I wonder how much flying halted. Because I mean, obviously, a lot of airplanes when this event was happening, they were grounded. No
Yeah, that
no
day,
airplanes.
I remember that day,
Yeah, that
everything was
day.
grounded.
But I mean,
completely.
like after that, I want to know how many flights were canceled. I want to know, how many people were still flying even a week after.
I don't
Right.
think very many.
The traffic had to have been minimal.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I bet for a while. Well, because remember, that was the complete overhaul of our airlines.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid when my dad would go TDY when he would leave for his It's called TDY. It's basically in the
Training
Air
and
Force
all
where they leave and have to go somewhere for a few weeks and whatnot. We literally would meet him at the gate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
We
remember
would
that
just
all the time.
walk in and
Yeah.
just go to the gate and
Stand
hang
right
out
there
for
and-
wait for him.
Have
Yeah.
your sign
I
and
remember that.
flowers or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I remember that.
And let's see here. Closings and cancellations following. There's a whole Wikipedia. Who has the time?
Wiki.
I do know, and the only reason I know this is because, of course, I'm a wrestling fan. But the first mass assembling of anybody after 9/11 was an actual wrestling show. It was
No way.
Yeah, it was like it was either Monday Night Raw or their SmackDown show, one or the other. So it was either Friday night or Monday night because this happened on Tuesday. So it was either that Friday or the following Monday was the first mass assembly of
Anything.
anybody.
Of
in the
course, it
United
would be
States.
the rednecks to be like, "Let's do this."
So a little bit of information on your question. All air traffic was closed from September 11th to September 13th, except
was
to like
2
military
days.
and like medical and stuff like that. And then it increased to a capacity of 30% only, and that was just to deal with all the stranded people
Holy
to try to get them all home to the
So
right
all those
place.
people were stranded for the 2 days.
You know what's wild to think is how poorly the government reacted of a homeland attack. You know what I mean? Because I mean, how long was it between the second hit on the towers before Pentagon got hit?
So let's see
Like you're
here.
telling me we didn't have birds in the sky, people hitting up other airplanes, making sure things were gravy.
There's got to be so many though.
I know, but there had to be so many red flags, right?
Right.
Those airplanes were not on. I can't imagine they were on their path.
We wouldn't get an answer back too.
They were all
right to-
hijacked pretty early on, because I think that's the thing is they coordinated the timing because they would only have very little time once we caught on
Yeah,
And they
to get
wanted
anything
to keep
done,
the
and they
fuel
were
high.
already in the air. Flight 93 crashed at 10:03 Eastern time.
So that's an hour after the 2nd plane.
you're telling me an
That's-
hour after
That's the one that went in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they couldn't get birds
where
in the
is it?
sky.
Flight 1-
Well, the hard thing is these are just normal airplanes. How do you judge which ones are bad and which ones are good?
You radio them, and
that's-
they have a course.
You can radio them, and there's
But
still
if they're
people.
already
Yeah, but
hijacked, though.
they like planned the course so that they wouldn't have to do anything.
They wouldn't
until
have
they
to
were
deviate
close.
from
Yeah,
that
At the
course.
very end of it.
exactly.
And they were
and if
shorter.
they're already hijacked, you're going to radio in, and of course they're going to be like, everything's fine. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, we hijacked you.
but they knew.
Everything goes okay.
That's the voice.
That's more.
Steve, that doesn't sound like you.
That's more Indian.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll get there. How many more people do
Now
we have
mix
to
the two.
offend?
Mix mine and yours. Let's see what happens.
So Flight 77 hit the Pentagon at 9:37. So it was like 35 minutes after the second tower was hit.
I don't know, man. It just seems fishy.
Well, they knew.
That to me seems fishy
Well-
because you're telling me to hit immediately. You're not, radio dispatch is not
I'm
on
sure.
every single
Oh,
airplane.
I think they did tell them to ground. Like that's when they started grounding flights. But again, you have so many planes in the air and so few
Yeah.
airports.
Yeah.
And because imagine, what if there were like 10 planes in the vicinity of one airport?
Yeah.
They got to sit there and circle and wait.
Not to mention, what do you do? Like, if you do figure out that a commercial flight is one of the hijacked ones, do you shoot it down and sacrifice the people that
I
are
guess
on
you
it?
can't really do anything because they're kamikazes at that
So
point.
there's another conspiracy theory that Flight 93 was shot down.
Yeah.
And the reason that theory exists is because Dick Cheney at the time, the vice president, did give the order and scrambled jets to go shoot it down. The weird thing is none of the jets were armed. So the idea was that they were going to ram it.
What?
Apparently, yeah.
I mean, the
Bullshit.
So, but I mean, ultimately,
They were gonna write it down.
act as its landing gear.
but essentially,
Pit maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. I mean, the crew, the people of Flight 93 fought back. And
I was gonna say, I think they have that
Took
on
it down.
Black Box.
They do
Yeah.
have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like to that particular theory
But is it?
is almost an insult to those passengers who were the heroes on that flight.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
For sure. And even Dick Cheney, he spoke of their heroism and what they did.
Right.
So,
Did you hear about the interesting story with Seth MacFarlane about 9/11?
no.
I feel like I know this story, but I can't think of it.
Yeah. So Seth MacFarlane, of course, the creator of Family Guy,
Yeah.
and has gone on to do some amazing things. In my opinion, he's one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
One of
I
my
think dude-
favorites.
dude's
He's a
genius.
comedic genius.
Yeah.
So he woke up past an alarm. His manager was supposed to wake him up the morning of September 11th.
Oh, I do remember this.
He ended up waking up late, or his manager didn't get him up in time, or whatever reason it was. I can't remember. He ended up missing his flight by like 2 minutes. His flight was the second airplane that went into the World Trade Centers.
Really? Wow.
You know, it makes you wonder
Flight
how many
175.
stories out there are like that.
Right? Exactly.
People looking, going, I should have been on that flight.
Or just people who didn't go into work at the towers that day.
Yeah.
Right.
Ones that called in sick.
Or on the, not to put it on the dark side, but what about those people who fly standby that it's like, hey, a seat opened up, like Seth MacFarlane's seat.
Yeah.
He didn't make it. So it's like, hey, standby, here you go, fill in.
Yeah.
My lucky day.
First class?
Oh my gosh.
You know what you got into.
That's true.
It's true. You know what you clicked on.
My bad.
Side note, Seth MacFarlane has one of the best Christmas albums out there. Just throwing it out.
Right?
He's got a fantastic
He
voice.
is an amazing singer.
So to go along with your questions, Austin,
Yeah.
there is a theory about how the air defenses were told to stand down. So a common claim among conspiracy theorists is that the North American Aerospace Defense Command, also known as NORAD, out of Colorado, issued a stand-down order or deliberately scrambled fighters late to allow the hijacked airplanes to reach their targets without interference. According to this theory, NORAD had the capability of locating and intercepting the planes on 9/11, and its failure to do so indicates a government conspiracy to allow the attacks to occur. There's only one explanation for this. Our Air Force was ordered to stand down on 9/11. That comes from Mark R. Elsis.
Interesting.
I mean, come on.
I guess
NORAD knows where Santa is, and they couldn't find a couple hijacked planes.
I'm not saying.
I'm just saying.
Santa's got magic.
Isn't
Santa, yeah.
is another big conspiracy? A lot of the people that they showed in interviews and stuff on the TV were actually credited as like actors, like what are they called? The people who they're like designed to be there. Like the government puts them there, and they're actors, and they actually interview these people. Like they were seen. God, I can't remember what it was. I watched a video, and someone pointed out like big things that happened, like a couple of the shootings and other things.
a few of the same people are there.
Yeah, a few of the same people that they've interviewed is like at these same
I see what
places
you're
being
saying.
interviewed.
Would they make that mistake though?
Is that a mistake?
I can't remember what
They changed their shirts.
I can't remember what they're called, but I know that some people were saying that a lot of these people who are like they're like crisis interviews that the government puts in place, and we're at this as well.
Could you imagine just for a sec?
I know him.
If they start answering in a, or like answering for the wrong catastrophe.
Right? Can you believe what happened here? Yeah,
It's
that
like-
shooting was horrible. I mean, wait, where are we at again?
Line.
Exactly.
Read that line again.
Can I get my life?
It's like the guy from Monsters Inc.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, took me in the mouth and shook me like a dog. He was put there. He was placed.
I saw the whole thing.
Yeah, he saw nothing. He's a liar.
They think it was a lot of the higher ups in the government too. Like Dick Cheney's is part of that.
heard
I mean,
conspiracy.
he did try
His
to.
company was doing remodeling or
president.
something, right?
Or wait, did he get shot?
Well, he was a Secretary of Defense during the early '90s.
He was?
Dick Cheney, yeah.
Dick Cheney, yeah.
Yeah.
Good old
Did he
Dick.
shoot a guy?
The president.
He shot the
Vice
president?
president.
No, or did he get shot?
He
I
shot
can't remember
someone.
now. I thought he shot
with a shotgun.
Yeah.
I swear he was out hunting and
Yeah,
shot
they
No,
were.
they were
someone.
at Camp David.
He was hunting quail or something.
And he shot
Oh,
someone.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I
shot
remember
someone with
that.
a shotgun.
Uh-huh.
Not very good for a defense.
Well,
Dick Cheney. Oh yeah, he shot Harry Whittington, a then 78-year-old Texas attorney with a 28 gauge Perazzi shotgun. This was February 11th, 2006.
they even tell you the gun. It was a Perazzi.
My God,
It's a nice gun.
Someone
Hey,
on
hunting
this,
accidents happen. I've never had one, but
You've heard they happen.
I heard they happen. But he was the Secretary of Defense, so they think he had inside. He was.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard there's a conspiracy as well as to why the president was down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Something revolving around. I don't know the whole story, but that's a big,
Far
huge
away.
thing. That how convenient of it that the president was in Florida.
And it was George W. at that time, right?
Yes,
yeah.
and not at the White House that was scheduled to get hit.
Really?
George W.
George W.
I don't know,
W.
man.
Bush.
He's a clown. Have you watched any of his stuff now, like recently? That bro is a clown.
Dude, nowadays, let's just come on, bro. Come on, bro. I just love the two videos that always come to mind are first when they first told him about 9/11.
Oh,
and he was in the kids. He was like in a kids like
Yeah,
a
he was in
first
elementary
grade
in
or
Florida
something
reading
like
a
that.
book. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was in the
And they tell
library
him what
reading a book
happened.
to the kids.
And then that time when the reporter threw his shoes at him,
I remember that. Got so mad and he
like-
grabbed his shoe. Yeah,
he dodges them both. I wish he would have been like, got any more? Miss me?
Well, wasn't it him that there was where he's on the golf course? Where he's like, we're not
watch
going to
this.
stand for this. And he's like giving this really serious speech about getting in there and whooping some ass and stuff. And he's like, now watch this drive. He walks up to the tee box. And,
Oh my gosh, dude.
is that where they got it from? Fun with Dick and Jane.
Now watch this draft.
Now watch this.
Fun,
drive.
Fun with
I
Dick and
don't-
Jane. It's I can't remember his name. The guy who
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin. He's at a hunting thing or whatever, and he's like, what happened at the events of this place is absolutely horrible. And I feel so terrible about what happened. Now watch this shot. And he turns around and shoots a duck.
It's hilarious.
I remember Jamie Foxx doing a stand-up about George W. And I can't remember what he says, but he's like reading the prompter and he's like, we the people of the USA. Oh, USA.
Goodness gracious.
What did he say when he was reading the books to the kids?
Oh, he didn't say.
It was
Yeah,
how he
you
reacted.
see him.
could
You
see
see
his
his
face.
face.
Yeah.
When someone one of his Secret Service walks up and like whispers in his ear, and like you see his demeanor change and like
He's just like instant.
oh dang, like oh shiz, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. And I think they
Why couldn't you wait a few more years?
well, and I think they also wanted a lot of people were mad at
out
him
in
for the
2008.
fact that he didn't overreact. Like they felt like his reaction was very subtle.
A bunch of kids in the
I
room.
was
And-
about to say, yeah.
And that's exact. Yeah, I think they did an interview with him about it like years afterwards, and he's like, here's the thing is this gets presented to me, and I'm in the room with a bunch of kids. The last thing I want to do is stand up and cause an uproar and scare everybody.
Right.
He's like, so of course I'm going to sit there, I'm going to finish what I'm doing, and I'm going to try to get out of there as quick as I can. And as soon as we got out of there, we went to work. But
I remember his speech too, when he was saying that we're gonna invade. He was like, "Oh no,
Took down old Saddam.
I just remember
Yeah, it was a wild time.
I had a
us a lot of
completely
time.
different image in my head when I heard that we were going to go to war. Like I pictured like what you see in the movies where every civilian is just looks like it's
Like
the
Red
Great
Dawn?
Depression. Yeah. Like I pictured it just being a complete war zone everywhere.
It'd
And
be
then
out riveting planes.
and then flash forward, 20 years and it's like, oh, we are still at war. Like me and my
That's still going on?
naive little bubble here. I'm like, oh man. Like
A lot was sacrificed for us.
yeah.
But some of the other more prominent conspiracies revolving around 9/11, that the collapse of the towers So the Twin Towers and Tower 7 were the result of a controlled demolition.
Yep.
That was the Cheney setting it up. Cheney's company
Because
setting it up.
they don't believe that the structure should have dwindled like that without being
Like falling straight down.
Yes.
Like it fell so perfectly.
Yeah, people. There had to be something helping it. You know,
I remember hearing that one.
Well,
and
and
they
the
tried to blame it on the plane fuel.
Yeah, the rocket
but,
fuel.
But jet fuel doesn't burn like that, right?
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
No,
That's what
but
it
it
was.
Steel-
weakens them.
Steel melts at 2,500 degrees. Jet fuel burns at 1,500.
But it weakens it.
But steel gets weak and like pliable almost at 600 degrees.
Gotcha.
So essentially,
but still no reason for it to go straight down.
Well, it would if you're
depends.
Anyway,
Yeah,
the
it would if you
structures-
planted some C4. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying I could have.
I mean, but wouldn't you have seen any explosions after?
Happened at the same time.
Think
Well, 'cause wasn't-
simultaneously?
We started the fires.
On the explosion thing, I thought there was like solid evidence about it too.
That there was
something about the debris, like I can't remember. I read about it a long time ago, but something about the actual like mess of debris of the buildings and things that if they had gone down naturally from the planes, then
nothing natural about that.
well, I say naturally as far as
Right.
like
I
what
know.
the planes would
From
have caused.
just the plane's damage.
Yeah.
Right.
That there would have been, I wish I could remember that the debris would have been different, but because it was possibly the controlled bombing. Oh, no, I can't remember. I want to say it was like the pieces of metal or something like that, but I don't know.
I also feel like I remember reading articles on missing parts. Like there was at some point they believed, I think it was the Pentagon was actually hit by
A missile.
missiles,
A missile.
Right.
Yep.
not an airplane.
The
because
video is
there's no-
crazy of that.
Because there was no debris from the plane.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. That same with like in Pennsylvania. Remember the plane was like
Sorry.
disintegrated. It was gone. And the Pentagon, they claim, was hit by a missile because the impact was too small to be a plane.
Like it almost was small enough to be like a prop plane.
wasn't it a helicopter though that ran into the Pentagon?
No, it's a plane.
Was it a plane?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah,
Was
like you were saying.
Was it?
Before I interrupt, sorry.
No, you're good.
It was, they have a video and you can see something fly by and it looks like a missile. It looks like a missile. Going to hit it.
Easy.
And those who don't believe in conspiracies, they just claim that the wings were ripped off.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like one of them got ripped off by something else, and it was coming in like sideways, kind of, and the other one got ripped off, torn off by the ground.
You know, I'm gonna have to ask my dad about this because his job for a very long time was to inspect crash landings by airplanes.
Oh,
So
was
I'll
he on
have
the
to,
big one?
No, not on that one.
Oh.
He generally did fighter planes, so F-16s, F-18s,
That's cool.
stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to have his take on it, or if he ever saw any. I'm sure he went all about it when it happened because that was his job. You know,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's a natural point of interest.
Didn't where it hit on the Pentagon too was like a very specific spot?
It was like one of the most, but I think that one was debunked that they figured it out. But yeah, it hit like one of the most operational parts of the Pentagon or something like that,
Yeah.
or one of the most stored.
I heard it was
places.
off a little bit, but yeah. So,
Sorry, real quick to give you the numbers. They said like, how could it be a plane? Because how does a 125 foot wide, 155 foot long plane fit into a hole which is only 60 feet across?
I remember hearing about this one actually.
So that's why they were so.
Yeah. Well, and it would make sense that they would try and say an airplane hit because if it was a missile, it's like, okay, where the heck was the defense? Where's our 5-star defense
Yeah.
for, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I feel like
Right.
that was the cover up was if the Pentagon was hit by a missile, it'd cause an uproar and be like, I thought this was supposed to be like the safest country in the world. How did a missile just so happen to almost take out the Pentagon? Because
Yeah,
the missile,
exactly.
because it hit, but it never exploded, right?
Yeah, essentially just ran into it.
Yeah. But from I remember,
Like
and I
the
remember the video
explosion,
forever
there was
ago.
an explosion, but it wasn't like a crazy big explosion.
Interesting.
I mean, it was pretty big.
And it went boom.
It did go boom. It was a pretty hefty explosion.
Because the videos, and this was probably a decade ago that I watched these videos, but yeah, it was missing the wings. It was missed like that. Basically, if it was an airplane, the thing had disintegrated.
Well, I mean, it's just like,
Or
like,
maybe it
this
got
is,
hit
even in 2001.
by a jet.
I mean, this is a perfect time for one of those memes where it's like the what's James Webb Telescope seeing other galaxies, and then it's like the bank's camera, and you can't like you're all digital and like
Right.
just cubes, and no one can see what you look like.
Pixelated.
Like that's what's with all these like seriously, such an advanced facility as the Pentagon on the front, like that's where isn't that where DARPA works out of, and like all of those huge defense
yeah.
companies and you know the government. How do they have such crappy cameras?
It's because it's the government.
Because they know that we want to see that footage.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
know, and they just like put the crappy ones. Put
So-
the 360p out there.
What's the reasoning that they said that the government did it?
So some of the main reasons for why they think the government did it is kind of what we touched on earlier, an excuse to invade Afghanistan and Iraq,
Right.
to advance our geostrategic interests, such as plans to construct a natural gas pipeline through Afghanistan.
That's the one I've heard
Afghanistan
about.
has a crap ton of oil.
The Middle East does in general.
Yeah. Other conspiracy theories revolved around authorities having advanced knowledge of the attacks and deliberately ignoring or assisting the attackers. What else? I don't know. What else do you think they did for, or just that?
Well, they did say that was we've always been allied with Saudi Arabia. One of the things is they needed to have an excuse to attack Iraq and Afghanistan in the name of Saudi Arabia to help Saudi Arabia out, because we had a pact with them to receive their oil, and in so doing, we were supposed to defend Saudi Arabia. So. But we couldn't quite justify going in at that point. But they think it was to go in there because of Saudi Arabia to continue our oil trade with them. As one of the reasons.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
Black gold.
Yeah, for real.
Interesting.
There's some crazy stories about all that.
Total left field question.
Black gold that's being sold off to China.
Total left field.
Stay on
Sorry.
target.
I'm going to take us off target just for a quick second. With gas prices as high as it is, do you think right before the political or the presidential election, they're going to tap into the oil in Alaska to drop the oil price or the gas prices?
Yes.
To get
And then-
reelected.
Oh, heck
Yes,
yeah.
and Biden's going to look like a savior.
Hey, look,
think?
I fixed my mess.
He won't sound like one.
you think?
You know, man.
You know, America can be summed up in one word. Corn pop.
I don't know, man. I bet you there's
You know,
this
man.
huge drive towards EVs, and then they're going to be like, hey, you know what? Let's finally tap into this Alaskan pipeline or oil, and oh look, gas is now $2 a gallon.
I did that for you. This is my present. And now your 4th of July picnics are going to be 7 cents cheaper. You're welcome.
It's over. 4th of July's over.
What is,
You know what I mean, man.
you know, it's the 20s, man. Things are rough.
I meant the 4th of November.
Oh, man.
Anyways,
Which comparison do you believe the most?
Well, here's another link real quick.
Okay.
There are people who believe that a lot of this is tied to none other than the New World Order.
of course. Heard about that.
That New World Order,
Which isn't that the stuff that we talked about in like Colorado?
Illuminati.
Yes, the airport in Colorado
Yes.
has a like dedicatory stone that says it was built by the New World Airport Commission, which is a non-existent company,
Yeah.
and it has a series of like Masonic
That's the
symbols.
Freemasons, yeah.
But yeah, dude, Illuminati. That's something we gotta get
Well, the
into.
Freemasons are actually not the Illuminati.
No, they're not.
They are fighting the
They're
Illuminati.
battling in the background. That would be
Trying
a
to
great
get-
So-
movie.
That would be.
What though about the towers has to do with the New World Order? Like, what's the benefit to them?
No more
Because-
stock market.
Yeah, it's a huge
New
trade.
World Order.
Yeah, like the whole point of the New World Order is to essentially create one, I
How?
wouldn't say country, essentially one ruling power of
Right.
the entire world.
Right.
So they would control everything from banking
It's
to
a ruling faction.
companies to globalization, military interests, everything.
So if that's the case, though, then
Klaus Schwab.
It's
if
like
it's-
one ring to rule them all.
yeah.
And that turned out great.
So I mean, it's been
We need a volcano.
it's been what 21 years now. Well, almost. How come if the New World Order is a thing, and I don't know where my brain's going with this, but if it's a world order thing, don't you think they would attack trade centers in other countries? Like, why just America?
Well, because
We're the most powerful.
Well, I get that, but like, why just
the first line of
America?
defense. Well,
Like-
they do attack. You just don't hear about all the other attacks in all the other parts of the world, typically.
Okay.
But there's a lot of things going on. It's just it's another stepping stone for them.
Yeah.
The paving.
It's essentially
the way.
something, because think about it. What happened after? What was one of the biggest, most conspiratorial actual things that happened after 9/11?
Aliens.
No. I'm thinking, think of
Yeah.
the most prolific whistleblower you know.
Edward Snowden.
Yep. And what did he do?
He blew up the government like nobody's business. The
Well-
CIA or whatever
Yeah,
it was.
NSA.
Yeah,
There you go. The
NSA.
NSA.
He let the world or the country know that the NSA was literally tapping every single American phone call and recording those conversations.
So, yeah.
And how were they able
what
to do
bill?
it?
What bill is passed after 9/11? Do you remember the Patriots Act?
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
called it the Patriots Act. Wrap it in this nice little bow. It sounds. I'm a patriot. Let's go with this.
And what was it meant to do?
It was meant to be. It was for national security.
It was to protect us
Right.
from something like
Right.
9/11 happening again.
correct.
Yes. So we can listen into everybody's phone call and see.
But what
Who's
it
saying
did was
what?
take away freedom.
Yes.
A lot of freedoms that we have and privacy that we have. So like, it's for the good of the country to protect us. Not so much.
Yeah.
That is one of the most corrupt bills that has been. Anyways,
No, keep going. Yeah, that they used an event like this
correct.
to push forward and play on our fears as a country. Hey, we're going to protect you, okay? We're going to make sure this never happens to you again. You'll never be afraid to go on another flight. You'll never be afraid to travel with your family. We will make sure nothing happens. All you need to do is just let us listen to your phone calls. It's okay, you're going to be protected. Because
got nothing to hide.
You got nothing to hide. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. You'll be fine. And what
You
do?
know-
We give up freedoms.
Psychologically, fear is the biggest
Oh, yeah.
drive. Like,
Well, it's
Look
the
at
same-
look at everything in the last couple of years. Look at people literally afraid to leave their houses, wearing a mask constantly. People wanting to throw other people in jail for not wearing a mask.
Yep.
right.
The fear of being hurt by any little thing, immediately people were like, sure, take all my freedom. Protect me from this disease. Take all my freedom. And that's exactly how a new world order could put itself into effect.
And once they take away a freedom, we don't get it back.
Whoa. This is not the end.
And that's the end of this show.
Nice.
What just happened there?
The intro and outro is like in this
Oh, nice.
in this template, and that's just where it sits. It's like an hour in.
Welcome back.
That's our sign.
that's a quick. That's like at the Oscars when they give a speech, and then all of a sudden the music starts to play to say, "Hey, you're done with your speech. Get the hell off the stage."
Yeah, but that's how you get suicided, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that if Edward Snowden still was in the United States, he'd be dead right now.
Yep, that's
Yes,
why
he
he
would.
lives in Russia.
Yep.
He's not in
No
Russia anymore.
extradition. Oh, where'd he go?
South America somewhere.
Somewhere.
That's a good place.
Somewhere.
That's
not-
a large
I don't
continent.
think- I don't think really anybody knows where he's at right now.
Smart man.
Well,
He
it's
looks a
just
lot
like-
like Joseph
Who did the
Gordon-Levitt.
WikiLeaks?
Uh-huh.
Who did that?
That's why Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Who did the
played him.
WikiLeaks?
I know. I
was
was
his name?
joking.
The WikiLeaks?
Yeah,
He
did-
looks nothing like
Who's the
him.
guy who did WikiLeaks?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his
Same
name.
thing is he was given inside information. He was hacking.
He
it.
essentially is a whistleblower, and so he always
He's a
puts
journalist.
stuff out, but he has to live in another country.
Right.
So
Julian Assange.
Yeah. What happened to him? Is he suicided yet?
I don't think
He was living in the
So?
embassy for a long time.
he was in Ecuador until 2021. Apparently,
Now wasn't
he's still around.
Trump trying to get Snowden back? Wasn't he trying to what's the word?
Pardon him.
Pardon
Yeah.
him?
Yeah.
There was. I remember briefly. He was. I think.
Yeah. But they were trying to make, they said it had to make an example of him because of the top secret clearance he had and everything. But he knew what was right and what was wrong, and that was wrong.
And he wasn't even.
That
He
dude's
didn't
an
even
American
technically
hero,
work.
if you ask
He
me.
didn't even work for the government.
I agree.
He was working on their servers.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
he was
a contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing something. He was a contractor. He was doing other things. They asked him to go be part of like help him out with other stuff, like if I remember right, like go do contract stuff like with the CIA and other members and stuff.
Right.
But it wasn't even just like recording phone calls. Like they could tap into any camera, pretty much anywhere, and just watch people and
Cell
record.
phones, everything.
Yeah, whatever.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, Eagle Eye.
So did they?
No, Snowden.
Oh no, I need to though.
So good.
Did they ever get rid of that Patriot Act, or how is that
It's
still?
it's still in effect. They're trying to work on lessening it.
Yeah, they're revamping it.
But you know how they work. It'll be done in like 30 years.
50.
50.
50. You're right. 50.
And now he goes by David Summerbanks.
What?
Edward Snowden.
Oh,
Snowden.
jeez.
Summer Bank. Should
That
have
was
been Eddie.
horrible.
Should have been
That
Eddie.
What are you
was
talking about?
horrible.
That was very good.
That
You
took
didn't
some
know?
brain power to make
He
that
could
joke. up like
walk
that.
right back into the U.S. and you wouldn't even know.
Summer Bank.
David Summer, that's a funny name. But at the end of the day,
Sandy cheeks.
no, we can't forget about Building 7. What do you know about Building 7?
Ed fell down too.
But why? It wasn't even.
There's
What's Building
okay, but
7?
all those were connect. Anyways, you go ahead with the conspiracy.
No, you tell me. Don't you know about Building 7?
I do know about Building.
I feel like
7.
you know more than I do. So that's why I'm going
I
to toss
don't.
it to you.
I don't.
We're playing hot potato here.
Hot potato.
Chris,
Building
you
7
got the
collapsed, but
potato.
it was It was how many hours after did Building 7 collapse?
It was a while, and that's, I think, what was part of
It was
why it was so weird.
At least
Right.
2.
Was Building 7 even anywhere close as well?
It was in the vicinity. Yeah,
What is
Okay.
Building 7?
it's
Just another form of the World Trade Center.
It's part of the
Oh,
World
okay.
Trade
yeah,
Center,
it
but
was
it's
a
not
smaller
connected.
building.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was still in the Trade Center Plaza,
Gotcha.
but
So was it hit by like a Cessna or what?
no. So what they claim is that there was diesel fuel tanks that had caught fire because it was all connected for the generators, and that's what caused that one to collapse.
What's the significance of it?
Building 7.
I mean, what? Why are you asking? Why are you prodding
Because
about Building 7?
Because it wasn't hooked to it never got hit by anything like the other two towers did, and,
And
it
it
just
just
collapsed
magically
on
collapsed.
its own.
It collapsed
Later.
at 5:20 p.m.
Okay,
wow,
yeah, that
way
day.
later that
yeah,
day.
way
Yeah.
late.
Just
It's
fell.
just randomly.
And again, it collapsed kind of like a controlled looking
Right.
demolition.
So literally about 7 hours after.
But it started
second
from
plane.
the bottom. If you watch the video, and
Eight
worked its
hours.
way up.
So there are conspiracies around. Just they were hiding. There was information
Wait,
stored
what time
there.
did it collapse?
5:20 p.m.
So 8 hours after the second
Right.
plane hit.
So are you telling me they could have accidentally put in military time a 1 instead of a 0 at the very beginning?
Of wait, what?
So right, if the first one hit at 9,
Well,
First
5
one-
something 17.
Their
It
time
was 8 their
8:14.
8. So if it was 18 military time, that would be 6
p.m.
6 p.m.
6. I think they're buttoned. It's like on the Joker when he's getting out of the hospital.
Yeah,
That's
the
what I was-
button broke.
Yeah.
damn it, Steve, we didn't want to blow that one up.
It was not time. But there's conspiracies that they had files and stuff in there, like incriminating evidence, essentially.
In Building 7.
Yep. And so destroying it destroyed a lot of that evidence. Probably just a bunch of files from the Clintons. What? I didn't say that.
Suicided.
But
Hey, you're being listened to right now. I'd watch what you say.
hey, that's true. That's true. I remember my friend as a joke in like, this was like 2009 or something. We were talking about we wanted to go out like shooting. And he messaged me. He's like, bro, you ready to blow some stuff up? I was like, heck yeah, man. He's like, bro, that probably shot up some red flags back in NSA. He's like, they're probably watching us right now. Hey guys. Oh man.
Terrifying.
That's why you put allegedly after everything.
Allegedly. I didn't do anything. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think of these theories?
The whole government involved thing is pretty incriminating, honestly. Like, I feel like there's some stuff there.
Here's my hard thing.
Whoa.
Different kind of podcast.
That was
You go for 12 inches.
previous episode.
That was the previous episode. Sorry.
There's that button again. Went up late.
It's so difficult because the events and everything are 100% real.
Yeah.
And the things that happen to these people are beyond devastating.
Tragic.
Oh, yeah.
And
yes.
tragic.
Yeah.
That it's so hard and devastating that you just wouldn't think that the U.S. government would do something
Be that
like
evil.
that to
Right.
their own people.
Well, it's
And
also
just-
like, it's the disbelief. Like,
Yeah.
you can't fathom that your group, essentially your team, your country,
Right.
would do something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I just rewatched the National Treasure movies, and watching the like pride in those movies for the country, but it's because they're talking about the ancestors who built this country and what it stood for.
Right.
Watching those movies, I'm just like, man, like
I love it.
I want that. You know, not just for myself, but for just the country as a whole.
Well, do you remember how patriotic the whole country was after 9/11?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
it was
it was
beautiful.
the greatest
Yeah.
thing ever.
Flags
was
everywhere.
incredible.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember all the music, like just.
Not anymore.
Every 4th of July, I still listen to that one song. But is it Toby Keith?
American
He's
Girl.
like, "We'll put a boot in your ass." The American way. I'm like, yeah. Every 4th of July, I flare that song. Dude.
Brought to your courtesy.
Well, that song's
Other
for
red,
SEAL
white,
Team
and
6,
blue.
right? That song's for SEAL Team 6.
Probably.
I thought it was before.
It was
That
before because
yeah,
there was
before
like
they
I
did
remember
that.
there was they had that event where they had all these like musicians and actors and stuff like
Yeah.
put on. It was like a telethon thing to like raise money.
Oh, yeah.
You
He
know,
wrote
pretty-
it. Yeah, he wrote it to say we're coming after you.
Yeah.
I like that. Where were you when the world stopped turning? That September day. That song. You remember that one? Oh my, we're gonna have story time. We'll have a story time.
Dude, and that's like so much stuff. I remember the relentless pursuit of like
Right.
Osama bin Laden and terrorists and all that stuff.
Well, Osama bin Laden wasn't deemed a suspect till later on, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess there were early recordings where he actually said he didn't do it. They didn't do it. I think I just saw that in one of these.
Could you imagine if it was like 100% our government and you've got Osama over here, which, you know, he probably has
was a
things
bad
against
dude.
him. Yeah, I was
was a
going to
bad
say,
dude.
He was
I'm not
horrendous.
definitely not trying to say he was innocent in any way, but like, could you imagine like that's what takes you down is something that you didn't even do?
he's like a fall guy.
Yeah.
That's called karma, and that's a real thing.
It's like, what's his name with JFK? Is it Booth?
No, that's Abraham
That's
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
What's his name? Oswald.
Yeah.
You got me all
Lee Harvey.
confused too. Your brain part
But it's
traveled.
like how
Lee Harvey, he wasn't
said-
innocent.
He was a
He
patsy.
wasn't innocent.
But karma
he
got
didn't-
him. He was
yeah.
the fall guy for something he didn't do.
I know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Is this
Your
how
brain
you
fart
feel
was
all the time?
contagious. Yeah. That's how I.
No, but they said there were Bin Laden
for real.
tapes. So a series of interviews, audio, and videotapes were released years following 9/11 that were reported to be from Osama bin Laden. In the first of these, the speaker denied responsibility for the attacks. On September 17, 2001, in a statement issued by Al Jazeera, bin Laden is quoted as saying, "The U.S. government has consistently blamed me for being behind every occasion its enemies attack it. I would like to assure the world that I did not plan the recent attacks, which seems to have been planned by people for personal reasons."
Yeah, I don't
But
trust
who's
that.
going to believe a terrorist? Oh, come on.
But that's Bin Laden.
Of course he's
I
going to
mean,
say that.
I didn't do it.
At the same time, you would think
doesn't
that
do
the
it.
type of person he is, that he would be proud of it. Like,
Right. I
why
think it's
why
more-
would you pull off
We
such a
admitted to it
job
later.
and then deny it?
He heard Toby Keith's song. He was
We
like,
like-
it wasn't us.
He liked Black Ops though. He did a lot of Black Ops stuff. So Bin Laden started getting his name during when Russia invaded Afghanistan, and
And so the hard thing
that's
too
true.
about, I mean, if I were Bin Laden, I mean, yeah, you might want to brag about it, but at the same time, it's like you just be hush hush and be like, I didn't do it. Because if you're bragging about it and you're saying I do, you're just now asking for the entire world to come after
But you got to
you.
think, though, like the whole point of terrorism is to cause terror.
right.
Exactly.
Well,
So, like, you would
and-
want
Well, and-
want people to know
And their
and be
belief
afraid,
too. Like,
essentially.
well, they
the more isn't something about those radical Muslims like that. The more they take down, the better it looks in the afterlife, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Or something like that.
Well, how
I don't
it
know
works. Well, how it works is they have to get permission by a holy person to do it to break. So it's breaking a law, like killing yourself or killing people. Like it's breaking the holy law. But if you get a pass by a holy person, and you do it, and they say yes, do it in the name of jihad or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and they go do it, then they get pardoned for that, and they do go to heaven. Yeah,
And they get their 72 versions.
whatever it is.
42,
Yeah.
42 virgins.
And it's just a bunch of dudes in
Yep.
Star Trek and Star Wars outfits playing computer games.
Oh my.
Give it to Family Guy. Nailed it.
Yep. Check.
But at the end of the day,
Or it's the Robin Williams stand up when he's like 42 virgins. It's actually 42 Virginians.
I actually thought it was 72. Is it 42?
I don't know.
I thought it was in
up
the
there too. In the
70s.
But that's-
70s, yeah.
Can be
Yeah,
misinterpreted. They were. I mean, it's a radical group. They're a radical
Yeah.
Yeah.
religious group or whatever. It's just like the guys who did the.
it is
Kool-Aid.
72 virgins.
Ah, all right.
Do apologize.
High five. Heck, yes.
See, I stood up for it.
Look at you.
But it's a
I'm only going to
radicalized
tear you
form
down
of the
next
religion.
round. That's all right.
So,
Got to build you up for you. Take you down.
All right.
Now, at the end of the day, though,
I don't buy it.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I think this literally was just a massive, tragic event led out by just evil, evil people
Yeah.
who are surely rotting and burning in hell.
Yeah, definitely.
I still get like worked up about it. It makes me so mad,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Oh
So
my
bad.
gosh.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't, I don't know if I wonder if we were older, if we would have like,
Unless
Join the
Enlisted,
military.
yeah.
And,
You know, and I think one of the biggest saddest things to actually come out of this too is how the innocent people of, the mid east and stuff like that, how they got treated.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
coming across, into the States or to other countries. And,
Right.
they were immediately looked at like,
Profiled.
profiled and
for
everything.
sure.
And
Like,
I
so
was
bad.
absolutely horrible about that too.
You know, my uncle, he's of Middle Eastern descent, and he worked for Delta Airlines. And so being in the airport, working for the airline and having the skin color he has, he took a lot of
Flack.
flack. Yeah, thank you. But and I felt so bad. It was so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be.
It's wild, man.
But I agree with you guys. I miss the camaraderie, like the closeness we felt
Yes.
in the country. It's definitely something we need now.
Yes,
It
we
was
do.
Without the
Definitely
catastrophe.
an energy.
I don't know if it'll happen.
It won't.
I want that.
There's
I mean,
nothing.
it might take a
Except
catastrophe.
What
unfortunately
would
too
bring us
divided.
together like that again? Except
Aliens.
Christmas.
I don't even think aliens would happen.
You saw Independence Day?
Yeah, bro. Independence Day, 100%.
Greatest presidential speech ever.
No, because then what would happen?
Come on, Bill Pullman.
If aliens came to Earth, then it would be a whole new, thing of I claim I'm an alien now.
Again, you saw Independence Day. All the ones on top of the roof, like, oh, take me. They got blown up.
Yeah, bro.
So the morons get taken out immediately. And it just leaves the rest of us.
You're on to something.
Okay,
Come on, aliens. Come on,
All right,
aliens.
then
Come
Bill
on.
Pullman
The
can come
time is
down
now.
and give a speech.
Hey,
and-
man, we just got Top Gun. I bet you there's a whole bunch of recruits trying to
Dude.
become airmen right now.
Yeah.
Top Gun
True.
had that same feeling. And there's a reason it broke records. So we're still, I think our country is still more patriotic than we
we
give it
think.
credit for.
It is.
Well, not patriotic, but still together. I think there's more of us that do agree than
I think
disagree.
so.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the media that makes it look more divided than it is.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do you remember the Olympics following that here in 2002?
Yeah.
Man, it was like Patriot City down in Salt Lake
Dude.
City, man. That was so
That was
awesome and
beautiful.
wild.
I wish I would have appreciated that more. Like I went to a couple of events and different things, but I wish I would have really soaked it in.
That was so cool. Because, yeah, we down in Salt Lake City is where they had the Winter
winter,
Olympics.
yeah.
Oh, man. Here, following that, it was beautiful.
All right.
Loved it so much.
Freaking love it. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know in the comments what you think. Well, if there's any conspiracy theories you've heard and you think are kind of interesting, but just your thoughts in general about it. If you've made it this far, you got to have a word to go home with. And that word is going to be
Armadillo.
there it is.
Whoa.
A little
I'm trying to
armor-
relate it to the episode.
Not
and
even
Here
remotely.
you are outside of the box.
That's the beauty. Armadillo. Let us know
Armadillo.
if you've been here the whole time. Leave Armadillo down in the messages. We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for being part of this crowd.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.